Hey everybody, I'm Jason Rockman and welcome back to the Rockman Power Hour. We meet here every Monday to talk to some of the most interesting people in pop culture. And this week we've got an up and coming band who have kind of cemented themselves in the ska scene. They've ascended from up and coming to one of the best ska bands that are on the circuit right now, and one of the best bands out there in terms of attitude, in terms of talent, and just in terms of good vibes. So we're going to be joined by the Interrupters today on the podcast. Excited about this because not only do we get to talk to the entire band, but Ryan and I both got to talk to them, and it was quite the treat. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, I would like to bring in our co-host Ryan Stick. What's going on, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. We're talking to the Interrupters today. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt you too much. I was, behind the scenes with my hands in my mouth, just being like, don't say anything. Let him continue talking. Don't squeal as he says their name.
This is going to be one of those weird, it's going to be one of the weird ones because I believe when we spoke to the Interrupters, you were still in your Grizzly Adams stage.
I was, but I also kind of look like a halfway to Gollum from Smeagol in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Where it's like I have the rings and I haven't been living well, but I still have some hair. So, now I'm in my Annie Lennox phase and I'm very happy for it.
Yeah. You're back to the sweet dreams are made of this.
There you go.
Of your life. We spoke to the Interrupters. I love the Interrupters. I've had a chance to talk to them a couple of times, and everybody in that band is just, like I mentioned, good vibes, good people, talented, and it was a great conversation. But let's start off by again thanking our title sponsor, Heartbeat Hot Sauce. You've got a bottle of hot sauce with you?
I got a box.
You got a box of hot sauce with you.
All the hot sauce is in the fridge, but I just want to say that even when they send you a box of hot sauce, check this out, ladies and gentlemen. This is the attention to detail that Heartbeat goes to. Look how nice this box is.
Yeah, it is nice.
This is one of the nicest boxes I've ever had. and it came with hot sauce. So you can imagine even the quality of their shirts and their sweaters and everything else. So
everything's nice quality. I decided to wear one of their long sleeves today. They make nice gear. They make great hot sauce, and they're a great company out of Thunder Bay, Ontario. So go check them out. Heartbeat Hot Sauce. And of course, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Studio House Designs. Ryan is rocking the Faculty shirt, which is a great one, great movie, and they're the kind of company that will give you great designs of movies that you've always wanted a shirt from, and great people out of Philadelphia. So thanks to them as well. I believe during our interview, I was wearing my Hereditary shirt, and I love those guys. Good people out of Philadelphia. So go check them out. StudioHouseDesigns.com.
Great company and great movie taste.
Yes.
I honestly, every time they do a drop, I'm like, so what movie haven't I seen yet that I really should?
No, I know. They'll do that every once in a while. Cody will pull out a design. I'm like, oh wow, you went there. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we got to talk to the Interrupters. They have a new song that just came out called "In the Mirror," which is great. And we got a chance to talk a little bit in depth on what the song was about, and then we found out that the entire album is a bit of an autobiography for Amy. So love this interview, love this chat. I think we got to cover a lot of bases with them, and they're an interesting band that have really been working their way up the ranks, and they were just about to go out on the road for probably the biggest tour of their lives with Green Day and with Weezer. Can you imagine? You're going out with Green Day and Weezer, and then what happens? A global pandemic hits.
I would be disappointed if I had a ticket to the show and it got canceled. Nevertheless, be part of that tour,
right?
That dream tour. I would have cut off my toe to even tour with one of those bands. Nevertheless, both of them at the same time.
I know.
So maximum disappointment.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It was maximum disappointed, but they are the kind of band that will turn things around, and they'll find the positive in things, and I think they did. And I don't want to take anything away, so why don't we go right to our chat? Here it is. Ryan and I got to chat with the Interrupters. Enjoy it.
Here's Justin, Jesse.
Hey, Justin.
Hey. Hi.
Hi.
Jesse.
And there's Jesse. So Amy will be here in like 5 minutes or so. But
Thank
how are
you
you
guys.
guys doing?
Good. All is good.
Good,
David's on it, man. This guy's fucking been your champion in Canada.
Dude, we love David. He's all good vibes too.
He really
You know?
is. He's
Yeah.
he's a true Canadian. He's just good vibes.
Yeah, the Canadians are the nicest people. I don't know, like
I spoke to you guys in the last time. Well, it probably wasn't the last time you were here, but at Club Soda we chatted
yes,
briefly.
we remember that. We were up on the balcony.
Up on the balcony, exactly. And that was a few years back. But I felt so fucking bad for you guys when they announced that Green Day Weezer tour.
Yeah.
And I saw you were on there. I remember specifically, I was on air at Show'em. I heard the announcement and I was like, yes, this is gonna be the best fucking tour for them. And then COVID.
I know. Yeah, it was kind of crazy too, because it got canceled, obviously, the first summer. And then they were like, we're going to push the whole thing a whole year. So then we're in kind of like this holding pattern. And then it was like, okay, you guys, the tour's happening. And we're like, great. And then right like the month before it happened, there was this huge surge and like the Delta variant. And then they were like, it's still happening. So we were just like, okay, you just tell us what to do, where to go. And, we'll be good soldiers. And you know what? It was a different touring experience, like being out during that, as far as like we stayed in our bubble, we didn't go out on days off, all that kind of stuff. But the shows.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Like, I want to know, what was that like? Yeah,
it was every bit as epic as you would think it was. I mean, for us too, playing baseball stadiums was nuts.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding. I mean, when you're playing clubs and and the thing is with your band is you guys are always doing that. You're playing like arenas, and then you're playing but baseball stadiums. I mean, that's like the Beatles and shit going to shoot.
Yeah, straight up. The first time when we toured with Green Day on their last record cycle, we went to South America with them, and we played in this soccer stadium in Argentina that had like almost 40,000 people there.
You couldn't see the end of it. It was heads as far as the eye could see. We like to say you could see the curvature of the earth over the fans.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, so we've been super lucky to get in front of crowds like that. It's always been a little intimidating, but I think it's something we enjoy. We get to do all the different levels of stuff. What's so funny too is like last night, I don't remember why, I was looking through our Instagram, like I was going way back, and I just went back to the beginning of our Instagram, and I was just looking at some of the stuff from like when we first started the band, and there's like a picture from inside the Twins' house of like all these t-shirts and vinyl and like postage. And they're like, we're getting ready to ship out orders. And then just like, kind of like looking at like the humble beginnings of starting this band was kind of a crazy like trip through memory lane, because I scrolled and I saw the very first video of us, like when we went to Epitaph Records and met Brett Gurewitz. Yeah. This is like early days of Instagram, and he put up, it was like early days of Instagram video, like when you could first put up videos. Yeah. He put up this short video of us. He goes, the Interrupters are here at Epitaph, and he's going around, and you see us, and all I see on our faces is like, we are so nervous.
Deer in the headlights.
But I know we were saying like that was like, oh man, 10 years ago almost. We should go back and try to recreate that video and do like a swiper side by side of like,
That's the funny thing with bands is that people think bands have been around as long as they found out about them. And that's what happened with me, because I only found out about you guys about 2-3 years ago. And then I look and I'm like, wow, they've been at this forever. And they have all these other records. And it's just, it's amazing how you could always be around and there's always someone else you could reach. So that's really cool that you're playing stadiums now, because especially with Green Day and Weezer, because their fans can become your fans. And, I can say from personal experience, you're very likable.
Oh, thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. I got.
Sorry, I'm late.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry. It's fine. We were catching up. We were talking about going back to your first post on Instagram and meeting Mr. Brett at Epitaph.
Yeah, we were so nervous. And then from that, like, cut to like us at a stadium with fireworks every night. They did fireworks every single night. It was amazing. And the confetti and the concussions, confetti, fireworks. It was really awesome.
So when you go from playing that and then you you go home for a week and then, all right, you're going to play a club. It must be just nuts. But in the same, like everybody I talk to that plays huge places, I actually talked to Tobias Forge about this from Ghost. And he told me, I said, what's it like when you play these big places? And he goes, and it's so funny the way he says, he goes, well, the only difference is you make your movements more exaggerated. And it was just great because he's like, you have to play bigger. But, when you go into a small club again, there's something, most people that are live bands and real live bands, like you guys are a live band. You're a band that needs to be seen live. And when you get a band like yourselves, it's almost like you want to see a band like you guys in a smaller place as much as you can. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. What's so funny is like, I guess it's all relative because when we started, we were playing places with like no stage where the mosh pit, they'd hit your microphone and I'd chip my tooth. I had to get my, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, it's all those things. But the funny thing about what you were saying about exaggerating your moves is yes, but also when you're playing at a stadium and they have the cameras with the big screens, like you could wink and then everybody will see it. So it's like both. You have to have these big exaggerated moves, but also you play a little to the camera so you could get those like subtle things into it.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I love it all. I mean, they're all, I mean, I love what we do. Like I love connecting, and it's every step of the way from the small punk clubs to the stadiums. There's something so exciting about all of it.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. And Ryan and I are both fans. He was really excited when I said you guys were coming on the show today. But what I love about your band is that there's just this energy, and I think we've talked about it before, this energy that is just, you want to be a part of it. Like if you're from the outside, you're like, I want to cheer these guys on. I want, and it's true because I mean, obviously you're very nice. You can tell that right away. I've talked to you a couple of times and that comes across, but you're sincere. And that is one of the things that can lack in music sometimes is the sincerity. And when you're sincere and when you have all those elements, it makes people really say, hey, I want to see these guys succeed. So I was saying before you walked in, when you see a band like Weezer and Green Day wanting to take you out on the road, it doesn't surprise me because being veterans, I'm sure they look around, they go, we have our pick of who we want to come. Let's bring them because not only are they good, but they're fucking cool. And we want to make sure that, we can help them a little bit. So having said all that, it's nice to see that you guys are getting recognized through the hard work and through the good attitude.
Oh, thank you so much.
I mean, we're still just such fans of music too. And I think you never lose that. You'll always have the gratitude and the excitement of being in a band because, we all started for the same reason, just because we love music.
And I think also just having these couple of years of reflection and not being able to be with everybody. I mean, we've have even a newer, more robust
appreciation.
Yeah, no, for real.
That's a new one,
right? A robust appreciation. So the new song In the Mirror just dropped. It's fun. The video is great. But the record, we got to wait a little while for the record still. We're going to only get the record probably
August 5th.
Tail end of the summer. What is it like for you? Because I imagine the record's done. Is the record done?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is it like to sit and go, oh, fuck, we just want this thing to come out like now. And you have to wait. Is it tough?
Oh, it's definitely like, yes, absolutely. Right. We'll send it to you if you want.
The second it was done, we were like sending it to our friends. Like,
and the label's like, stop now.
Yeah. I mean, we have such an amazing team and everybody at like Epitaph, Hellcat. They have, always our best interest at heart and a great plan to like roll it out. So it's just part of being in a band is we wanted to like have a great strong like first single like In the Mirror to come back to like let people know we're coming back. And sometimes you release the whole thing all at once. Some of the other tracks might get lost in the sauce a little bit. So it's kind of nice, I think, for us to be able to, because we're going to be releasing singles every month until the record comes
so you're
out.
just going to stack it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So and then once the record's out, it's out forever. So that time will go by like this. We've been in this like 3-month waiting pattern before, and then like before you know it, we'll be on release day.
I think it's one of the hardest things for a band is to have to wait because notoriously musicians are very impatient. You want things to happen and you're excited. I mean, the general enthusiasm, it's like, I want everybody to hear this, and having to wait and having to trust a team sometimes can be a real challenge for a band, but it seems like you guys have there's a harmonious thing going on with the people that have to steer the boat and you, the creatives, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And you know, we're going on tour. When does our tour start?
Our tour
Fog and Wine?
starts it's June, first week of June.
June 7th is the
Yeah.
first show.
June 7th. They're so good with dates and times, these guys. If you want to talk about feelings, I got you all day. Dates and times, these guys are really great at it. But when we're starting the tour, and it's our, you know, instinct to just want to play like all of our new songs, but they're not out yet. So
yeah,
we probably will.
We'll sprinkle in some new ones.
We're gonna definitely sprinkle in some new ones, but we probably will sprinkle in some ones that aren't even out. I mean, that
I think that'd be fun.
You might hear it first at the show. So I don't think we're gonna be able to stop ourselves.
That's always a great approach, especially, and In the Mirror is an amazing song. Like the first time I listened to it, I immediately watched the video again, which is a great sign. But also it's kind of like, a lot of people can say, like, you know, I love a lot of bands, and sometimes when they play nothing but new material, I'll say, oh, nuts. But in this case, I'm just like, this is a type of tune that you can already tell they're like, wow, I hope they play this, and I would actually be pissed if they didn't.
And nice.
That's a really good sign, right?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, In the Mirror, man, that song is, we started writing it. Well, I started writing it 10 years ago. And even though I said it took me 2 years to write the song, 10 years isn't really that great of a lyric. But you know, it's just, I'm really happy that we came out with this as the first song, because it's about sort of stripping everything away and just being honest with yourself and coming clean. And I think it's just it's a good first sort of, because the whole album is basically my life story. So I think it's a good first chapter, you know, to like, okay, this is what's going on. Like, I'm going to tell you my story for this album.
Right. So In the Wild is your story.
Yes. It's an autobiographical journey through my life from beginning till now. Okay. It was kind of accidentally happened that way. Mm-hmm. But we were doing a movie called This Is My Family. And we had to go through our whole life, like our childhood pictures and videos, and kind of figure out, you know, just look at our whole life. And while we were doing that, we were also writing this record. So kind of, sort of,
one informed the
other. And I was like, wow, you know, So this could be, if you put it in chronological order, it could be my entire life story. But
it's funny you say that, because I don't know about you guys. And well, it sounds like you did a lot of reflection over the pandemic. I did a lot of that too, because I had time. So I was digging through, you know, I'm the kind of guy that'll take an Adidas box and just fill it with memorabilia, like stuff from, you know, like I used to play music.
Dude.
So what I do is I've got, you know, about 7 or 8 of these boxes, you know, and, you know, one of them will be tour passes from when we toured, like used to tour in a band, and then, you know, it'll be like flyers from shows, and we played with Soulfly and Fear Factory and all that kind of crap. But it's fun because you go through that stuff and it's memories. And I find that's the common theme with everyone I've spoken to over the last 2 years. They had the time to do that. They had the time to look through and say, oh, I remember that. And it almost made me say, maybe we kind of needed that pause to be able to reflect and take inventory of what's going on in our lives.
Inventory. Exactly. That's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Like any business needs to take inventory every 6 months if they're going to be successful. And I think that counts to bands as well. And I remember a motto that I always had, and tell me if you agree with this. Every 6 months, you got to look at where the band's going. All right, where have we been? Where are we going? Are we, you know, and do we keep going? And I think that's so important. And it sounds like you guys did a bit of reflection in the last 2 years.
Exactly. And I think that we all definitely did. And it was really helpful to all of our spiritual growth, I think. But I think the reason, you know, it took me 10 years and then is because that's how long, in order for me to do the inventory, I needed to take all of that time, because in order to write that song, I wrote countless verses of like my inventory to see like what, you know what I mean? Like it took me so long to figure out what's wrong with me. You know, it's kind of like, have you ever been drunk? Yes. And then
many times.
Okay. So
Ryan more recently than me, but yes, I have been drunk in my life.
I represent the both of us.
Okay, so have you ever been drunk and then somebody close to you in your life is sober and they want to talk to you at that moment that you're drunk and they're sober and they seem to like totally like have their shit together and you're just like not having the best moment. And
Brian,
you know
is
how
that
you
like conversations between you and I?
Well, that's why I don't call you when I'm drinking.
So that's okay. So that's my point.
Yeah.
Is
Out of the fear of what you're about to say.
You don't want to call the person when you're drinking, right? You don't want to talk to that sober person. You don't want to come home to that sober person. You definitely don't want to have any kind of real conversation with that sober person because you know they're probably going to call you on your shit.
Yeah.
So in the song, I'm the sober person talking to my drunk self.
Ah, like it.
You know,
Okay.
being like, I don't want to, in the mirror, basically.
Right.
It's like, it's taking me a long time to like talk to the sober me and be like, hey, yo, come home. Let's talk. It's okay.
So this is autobiographical in a bit.
Yes.
For you. Okay.
Very.
Okay. So just to let you know, I've been sober a long time. 29 years.
Wow.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
So that's why I was saying with Ryan, if Ryan's drunk, I'm always the sober guy that nobody wants to talk to. So I know that role very well. I'm always the person that someone will call when they're at a low point in their life when they need to chat and they're vulnerable, but then they disappear once they open up for a couple of months. I'm like, oh, I know what's going on now. It's because I'm a sober guy.
Exactly. I've definitely spent a long time sober.
Good.
Well.
Well, that's a good thing. And I mean, you know, and this is the thing when you, it's tough because the business that you guys are in, there's a lot of that's glamorized, and there's a lot of people that are suffering from, you know, alcoholism and addiction that are on the road touring. And I don't want to turn this into a sober podcast, but the reality is that there's a lot of that goes on, and it's tough to be in that world when you're trying to be abstinent from it. It's a tough spot to be in, but it's actually a lot easier than people think. When you're the abstinent person, it's not as hard as people outside of you think it must be. Do you know what I mean? Because I think
it's really hard to do. It's almost, I would say, almost impossible to keep the touring schedule that we do, to work as hard as we do, and be drinking. Like, honestly, I don't know how. I think it would kill me. You know what I mean? Like, for real. So I, in order to keep doing what I'm doing, I have to stay sober.
You guys are going out with Flogging Molly.
Yes.
That's probably going to be a bit of a challenge to stay sober, because I know they're pretty notorious for their drinking. I don't know if they still are. Are they?
Oh, you know what? We're all just celebrating live music together. And that's what really brings us all together, you know, and having fun.
Sure. Yeah.
The return of live music.
And I've seen some of the dates for some of the festivals. The one that blew me away was Aftershock, because when you look at Aftershock, it literally is like going into a music store and going through every bin alphabetically. I mean, you have everything at that festival.
It's gonna be awesome. Yeah. We're so excited.
We've been lucky enough to do it once before, and we walked into our dressing room, and the first thing we saw was a note from Metallica that said, like, have a great show. And we were like,
did you just lose your shit or what?
We realized that they probably left that for every band. but I put it up on Instagram and said, thanks to our family Metallica.
Well, you got it, man. You got to capitalize on those things.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, but that was really nice of them.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of festival where I'm sure you're pulling into that weekend and saying, okay, like, we've got to see this band. We've got to see this band. It's got to be, there's got to be at least half a dozen bands each that you want to see, even if they're all different styles.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, 99% of the time, the bands we want to see, it's like impossible. It's like, well, that time we're not going to be there yet. Or like, you're going to be just finishing up. And like, we have gotten lucky though on some festivals and seen some amazing bands. And I do think that on that day, we'll be able to, you know, explore the stages.
Ryan, tell me about the first time you heard Interrupters and how you felt.
The first time. One second, sweetie. My love. Sorry, my wife was pouring stuff in the background, and if my microphone's on, it's going to sound like I'm peeing really hard. Okay. Well, the first time I heard the Interrupters, my friend Richie had just seen you guys on Jimmy Kimmel, and he said, dude, this band sounds like all those bands we listened to growing up, right? And I'm listening to, and when I'm hearing Kerosene for the first time, I'm like, you know what? They do, but they sound like they play it better, in my opinion. And then the more I looked it up, I'm like, okay, look, this rhythm section is amazing. These guys but before I like really saw you guys, I'm like, they must be related. And I'm like, they're twins. Yes, they are related. But and then I realized, Kevin, you're their brother. And Amy, can you tell me exactly how did you hook up with this band of brothers? Because I know how they met. Or I have an educated guess.
Well, thank you for all of that. That's so sweet. Yeah, the twins rhythm section, they're very telepathic. So their bass and drums are always on lock, which is kind of crazy. And I can prove they're telepathic because for this record, we did a song where Jesse was playing drums outside.
Oh yeah.
This was the craziest thing. Jesse was playing drums outside.
We were experimenting.
It was a weird. This is a song that didn't make the record. But that's another story.
But in order to get the isolation, we're like, we got to put the drums outside so we can.
So we were experimenting. So he's outside and he can't hear us. And
he can't
see us.
Yeah.
And we can't see him and we can't hear him. Or we can hear him, but we can't see him.
Yeah.
Justin.
We get to the end of the song
without talking to each other or even having any idea what's going on.
We get to the end of the song and we're like, bum, and then the two of them were just like, bum, at the exact time. We were like,
wow.
Like the first time playing it, we never even discussed it. It's just like they had, it was kind of eerie. I was like, all right, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So we met on tour. So I was performing as a solo artist. And I was opening up for Sugar Ray on tour, and they were all in a band called the Telecasters.
Yeah,
and they were also on the show. And I was like at the front of house, just like hanging out, just watching them sound check, and just because it was out in the middle of a field, and I don't know, there was nothing else to do. I just thought I'd hang out, but because I was hanging out in front of house, they thought I was the manager.
I was like, maybe the promoter.
Or the promoter or something.
Right.
So they were really nice to me. Thanked me for having them. But
then that night I saw her set and I was blown away by the songs. And I was just like, whoa, like we got to exchange CDs, you know?
And we did exchange CDs. And you were wearing an Easy E shirt.
Yep.
I tried to buy off of him. He wouldn't sell me, but we bonded over that. But we became fast friends. And then we just started writing songs together. We just bonded like from day one. We just started writing songs together, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Like the synergy you all have is incredible. I can tell you the first time I fell in love with the Interrupters as a unit was through just discovering the band. I'm like, okay, Kerosene, that's a great tune. I saw this set you guys did. It was for a radio station and it was acoustic, and everybody just all four of you sing, and you're all singing together. And it was just this incredible performance. And I remember when you played out, I Gave You Everything. I'm like, wow, this is something special, because this sounds like the music I grew up with. But like I said before, but they do it much better.
Oh my God.
Nobody's drunk. Nobody's drunk. Everybody's in key. Like, it still has that raw energy of punk, but it's played, a lot more with a lot more precision. Yeah. And that's so great job on that acoustic performance, because I show that to everybody.
Whoa,
thank you so much.
Was that K-Rock Acoustic Christmas or?
We've done actually a lot of acoustic stuff. When we were touring the last record, Fight the Good Fight, we would go out and like do kind of meet and greets and do acoustic sets. We'd go to radio stations and do acoustic sets. And we kind of built this whole like alter ego of like this acoustic. So we had our two shows. We had the show that we were playing at night in the club, and then we would have like the acoustic set, and
which you could just pop up and do anywhere kind of thing.
Yeah. And I have to say too, we take everything we do pretty serious, as far as like we want to be the best we can, and we're always trying to improve. Sure. So when it came time to like have to play the very first acoustic set, we locked ourselves in our back room with acoustic guitars, and it was like, I remember just a whole day of
trying to figure out what the drummer's gonna do.
I was like, try tambourine. No, that's not good. Try a shaker. No. And then we start playing, and he's holding an acoustic guitar, and he just started hitting the guitar. we were like, that's it. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna hold the guitar, but you're just gonna hit it. And then we just built this kind of acoustic set. But thank you so much for saying that, because we did work hard on trying to do that, because we have loud plugged in instruments, drums and cymbals and a big PA system. And like, that's what we're used to. So
sure.
You know, when you're playing acoustic, you're a lot more exposed, and you have to, there's like you have to have a certain like precision of your part. And there's also like, you have to be economical, because there's only 4 of us, and we have to make sure everybody's singing the right thing. So, you know, we do work hard on the acoustic thing.
And I think the nerves are the most high acoustic.
Yeah. Because like you were saying, there's nothing you can really hide behind. You know, there's a lot less you can hide behind, I should say.
Yeah.
However, when an artist puts on an acoustic guitar, or at least for me, I just get into this character of like VH1 storytellers, and I'm just like, all right, this next one.
Yeah. Well, that's so this is what I was gonna say. In the 90s, there was a time where, you know, you would have the MTV Unplugged shows that are, you know, now they're legendary. When you look back at Nirvana Unplugged on MTV, you look at Pearl Jam Unplugged and Alice in Chains Unplugged. There was a time where bands were doing that. And some bands did it more successfully than others, but Alice in Chains were the one that always impressed me, because they were so loud and so aggressive. And then when they would put out their acoustic stuff, it was just as good. And that really made me realize that when a band writes a song, if it can be played acoustically without all the bells and whistles, it's this, you know, it's the telltale sign that it's a good song.
Such a good point. And we do that, you know, when we figure out what songs are going to go on the record or not. There's been many songs that we think are so awesome, but as like the final check before we record it, I'm like, we got to play it on the acoustic guitar. And if it doesn't slap, it can't go on the record. Like true. It has to hit on the acoustic guitar.
It's like you said, I mean, like on every level, like there's so much great like modern production stuff you can do, and so many effects and all this. But like, as far as songwriting goes, if you could sit down on a piano or an acoustic guitar and play the song and it makes you feel something, then we think that's kind of the crux of what a good song is.
Some of the funnest stuff to listen to for me personally is the Johnny Cash stuff that he did with the Rick Rubin stuff, because that
American
stuff
5 is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff is so raw. And you know, you're talking about, and it's funny, as we're talking, I'm looking because my vinyl's on the other side of it, and the Johnny Cash stack of the American stuff with the red band is right looking at me. There's like 6 of them. But it's really, that was when they did that. And I mean, Johnny Cash, everyone, you know, legend, but when they did that at that point in his career, it just shows like, yes, put someone in a room with an acoustic guitar. If there's a good song, then it's going to come across. So I think that's the fact that that's the smell test before it hits the record with you guys is great.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Well, it's a smell test.
It is. Oh, absolutely.
It's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing them picking up a record and being like, not this one.
That'll do.
So the tour is, you're kicking off some dates with Flogging Molly. You're going to be doing some festivals, you know, in between. What comes after? I mean, the album drops August 5th. Are there plans into the fall? Like, is there a whole bunch of stuff that you can't say yet because the team has told you not to? Okay.
And it's like you said, it's so hard, like waiting and stuff. I had a conversation about spring of next year.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a lot coming down the pipeline for
and what we want to tell all of our family in Canada is we are planning something really special. Because, you know, we're doing this US tour, and everyone's like, there's no Canadian dates. And it's like, what we kind of discovered is like, we like doing proper Canadian tours, like where you start.
Well, we just focus on Canada.
Yeah.
Canada, right.
We don't
want to just pop up and pop back.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. And, you know, one of the last tours we did before the lockdown was a Canadian headline tour. And it was some of our biggest and most fun shows. I mean,
we love Canada.
Yeah, we love it up there. It's been
you know, being someone who's lived in California and come back to Montreal, as much as LA has a piece of my heart, Montreal will always be home, because there's just something special about this city and Canada in general, for sure. But I can tell you, Canadians appreciate when you don't do just the 2-step of Vancouver, Toronto. I mean, that most Canadians, when they see a Manitoba date, like a Winnipeg date, or they see a Thunder Bay date, they're like,
we've done Thunder, Timmins, Oshawa. Yeah, Regina. Yeah.
Did you say the R word?
Yeah, I did. We had a really good show there, actually.
Awesome. Everybody has a good show in Regina because there's nothing else fucking going on in Regina. So they're just happy when you roll in.
It was very cold at the time. I do remember the snow was like, yeah. The show was awesome.
It was awesome.
So when you catch frostbite on your toes, every time it gets cold, you feel it forever. It's just that's part of the backlash of frostbite. Once you've gotten frostbite, you feel it forever when it gets cold.
I didn't know that. Maybe I've got it.
Don't ever get it, and don't ever spend a winter in Regina, whatever you do. Nothing against Regina. If anyone's listening, we love you. We just want to come visit you in July.
Oh, and we'll be back. We'll
definitely be back.
Maybe it'll be warmer when we go back there.
And lastly, I believe it was you, Justin. There was a very funny video. And again, you guys, your social media, I don't know if I mentioned it, your social media stuff is just so much fun to watch. But there was one where you got the call that touring was happening. And I think it was you that had to do the quick. You were like Grizzly Adams, back to you.
Oh, yeah.
It was a great post.
I had a lot of interesting hairstyles the last 2 years.
Hey, listen, at least you fucking have hair, dude. I couldn't grow any if I tried. At least not on my head.
He does it in stages too, where like there'll be a handlebar mustache maybe for a short period of time, and then maybe a goatee or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely rocked a mustache for a couple of weeks in 2020 when we were not doing it.
When no one was seeing you.
Well, the funny thing is,
gonna see me. I'll try it.
You thought so, but we were building a studio, and I was documenting us building our studio in the backyard to make this record. And there's a lot of pictures. I'm actually putting a video together of the making of our studio that I'll be releasing very soon. They have mustaches, thinking no one's gonna see this. I'm like, oh no, this is going on our YouTube page.
Hey man, when did you guys hire those porn stars to work on the storage room?
We're out there cutting wood with mustaches on. Like, what's more?
It was very on brand. It was
You said wood. Guys, thanks for taking the time to chat today. New album comes out August 5th. It's called In the Wild. The new song In the Mirror is fantastic, and the band's heading out on the road. So if they're playing a city near you, definitely go check out Interrupters. Great energy, great people, and again, you have fans in us here because both of us are believers, and I can't wait to see what the next chapter of this band holds.
You're so kind. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us, and we love you guys, and we hope to see you very soon.
Yes.
Out of my own curiosity,
you're not going yet.
Okay, sorry if you don't mind, because only you can answer this. I only know who Billie Eilish is because of you.
What?
And, well, she became a huge star. Like, even old men like me now are aware of Billie Eilish because it's undeniable. But a few years ago, I caught this cover you guys did, A Bad Guy, and it's the coolest cover.
It is a cool
like in a sense where Nine Inch Nails, where Johnny Cash covers Hurt, and it's like, oh wow, what a cool rendition of it. When I hear Bad Guy, I'm like, wow, what a creative, cool, fateful cover.
Wow.
Like how the hell did you guys think of covering Billie Eilish out of all those other songs?
Right, yeah. We were on tour. We were on tour, and we were playing with 311 and the Dirty Heads, and we wanted to like mix it up, and she's like, I want to cover Bad Guy by Billie Eilish, which at the time I think was #1 like for weeks, and it was just like, that could be,
I just related to the lyrics. I felt the song. I was like, that's my song. I'm the bad guy.
Yeah. So we just did it to like play it on tour and have a fun thing. And then as we kept touring, we were getting people at the shows and even on our social media, like, hey, where can I hear your version? And we were like, we don't have a version. And we didn't, it was funny because we were like, do we go into a studio and record it? We're like, let's just play it live and film it. And that'll be the version because it was our live version.
Yeah. So we just, what you heard is just us live in a room.
Us live in a room doing it. And we're stoked.
But our whole record is us live in a room.
I know. Yeah. We really do record a lot of stuff together just because it's quicker.
I think that comes, and that's what comes across as the band feeling like a unit. You know what I mean? It when you record together in a room, it makes all the difference. 110%.
Yeah.
Cool. Now we will let you go.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Well, you guys are so awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Yeah, man, that was awesome. And I'm probably going to eat some shit for saying, oh, they do the music better than the other bands used to. But let me just tell everybody something to be perfectly clear. Do you have any idea how many of my favorite bands have come on stage too drunk to play?
Yeah.
And as a result, unless I was too drunk to listen, I noticed. So the fact that they're like this they always seem loose, and they record live in the studio, which is something that Van Halen used to do for the first few albums too. So you have that live yet tight, kinetic musical energy. I think it's great that this band, after all these years, I mean, they've been at it for like about 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see that they're like this unit. Like Kevin's, I believe Kevin records them. It's really cool. You know
Well,
what I mean?
they've got their shit together, and
Exactly.
they're a well-oiled machine, and you can tell that they spend a lot of time together, but there's a lot of respect in that band. There's no ego. It seems like everything's done for the greater good of the band, and I love seeing that in a band that does spend a lot of time together and that does tour together. And when you see that kind of respect, you know that they're onto something. It's special. It's special, and it comes across in the music. It comes across when they perform. It comes across. We were talking about in the chat. We talked about how they, got a chance to do an acoustic performance, so they really worked hard on that. And when you look back on that acoustic performance, their harmonies are down. You and I were talking about it off camera, how everything they do is it's a well-oiled rock and roll machine over at the Interrupters side of the world. So it's nice to see that. And it comes across when they talk, and just the respect. They listen to each other. They seem to genuinely like each other's company, and just great energy on stage.
After we interviewed them, they had mentioned that they had like a documentary out, or a semi-documentary, and there's this kind of mixture of concert footage and kind of like behind the scenes thing called "This Is Our Family," or "This Is My Family," and it's on YouTube. Anybody can watch it. And Jason, I've never almost puked from adorableness before, but when you see the twins and Kevin be like 9 years old, playing like little instruments and stuff and trying to be a punk band even when they're like 10 years old or 6, seeing the twins when they're 6, it's like, dude, I felt my biological clock ticking, like, and I'm pretty sure I don't even have one. So it's just awesome.
It's adorable how close they are, and it's and it comes across. And
I will say this, it's like, as an not older, but as a person who likes his music, and this music sounds like the time that I grew up in, I would be the first person to be like, you damn kids, you damn new music, you don't know how good it was.
Right.
But on behalf of myself and a lot of other people I know in my age range, we all love this band.
Yeah.
And that's not very common, to embrace a newer band doing that kind of music right away without that kind of like just endless comparisons. I mean, good for them. Seriously, I think that's very special.
My friend Val, who's a big music connoisseur, the first time I spoke to Interrupters, she was like, the next time you talk to them, you bring me along. I said, I promise. And of course, the next time I talked to the Interrupters, I'm talking to them I'm talking to them on Zoom. So, but my friend Val absolutely loves them. So, and she's my age, or maybe a year older, and a huge music fan, and very picky.
May I just say that when Kevin got on the Zoom, the first thing he said was, "It's so nice to see you again."
Right.
So he has got a great memory too. Or, well, Rockman, I think you just have one of those faces.
Yeah, maybe. But he did know you remembered we were up on the balcony at Club Soda, so that's nice. Did you film that interview?
No.
Oh.
But I watched it.
All right. Well, thanks
with
again
envy,
for joining.
With Val like envy. I was so pissed.
But look, but now you're here. Now you're in the big leagues with the Interrupters. Look how far you came, kid. I'm glad we got a chance to talk to them, and I'm looking forward to the new album. And they kind of, I think they've got a lot of material probably in. I would say they'd have a lot of stuff in the chamber that's ready to be shot out. I wouldn't be surprised if they got a whole other record out ready, because you could tell that this is a band that works, and they probably got a lot of material stockpiled, and they probably used the downtime to get ahead of the game, which a lot of bands did over the last couple of years. A lot of bands said, all right, well, we're not gonna be able to tour, so let's write a couple of records. Like Weezer, man, Weezer put out like 3 records this year. And they have
3?
They put out the long-awaited Black album. They put out Van Weezer. They just put out the Spring EP. They put out a covers record.
Wait, they have a Black album too? So Metallica, Spinal Tap, and Weezer all have Black albums? That's awesome.
And what's crazy about Weezer, they've got more material. So you just know that a guy like Rivers Cuomo was just sitting and writing. And I'm sure the Interrupters are doing the same. Maybe I'm wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised if they stockpiled. And that's what people should have done. Instead
I guess
of
so.
Yeah. Instead of sitting and wallowing in your sorrows and going, oh, I can't do anything. Like, no, just get ahead, because if you've got material, it means you can go out and tour and you can make money.
Yeah, or you could make Kings of Quarantine videos and
Or you could do that, which
Yeah.
which was a lot of fun. And you know what I think about it? I'm like, man, I would have loved to have had some of the interrupters in those. That would have been
Absolutely,
great.
yeah.
So just letting anybody out there that, is planning another global pandemic, let us know, because we'll get right on that Kings of Quarantine.
Yeah, let us know
again.
ahead of time this
Let
time
us know,
so we can get
'cause-
our shit together.
Yeah, we can really get these Kings of Quarantine videos off.
We want to pull a Rivers Cuomo and just make like 17 albums and stuff.
Man, we still have drums for those. We still have drums for 4
We should release the
songs.
drum tracks, and you could just do some improvised hip hop over it. And
Yeah. All right.
just tank the channel.
Let's not. By the way, we want to thank you for joining us on the journey, and we really do appreciate everybody that has been subscribing. Just don't forget, subscribe, like, and tell your friends about the podcast. And we're available if you're listening to us on the audio platforms. We're available wherever fine podcasts are streamed, and we're also available on YouTube. And we appreciate the support. We really, really do. Ryan, we got some great stuff coming up. I know we're going to be taking a break at one point for a little bit, but not long, for 1 week.
I know, because of infighting. No, you're
Right.
you're going on vacation.
Hate everybody, but I hate you all. Hate you. But we're going to be, we've got quite a few cool things coming up. I know we're going to be, you and I got to see Top Gun, and we can't talk too much about it, but we got to see the new Top Gun Maverick movie. And I believe that's coming very soon, right? We're going to do a Top Gun episode. All I can say about Top Gun Maverick is that if you look at Top Gun, it holds up right next to it, without a doubt. It's the perfect companion piece for that movie. There's nothing, and no one can say any different. No one can.
Nope.
You can't go in there and say, no, just shut up. If you like Top Gun, you're going to like this. It's simple as that. I'd like to thank my co-host Ryan Stick, our producer Julia Kajerski, and the interrupters, of course, for joining us, and David as well for hooking the interview up. And we will see you all again next week. Oh yeah, we got to thank Heartbeat Hot Sauce, who are awesome too, and all of you for joining us. And we'll see you next week on the Rockman Power Hour. Fuck.